Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3, back with another kicking graphic novel review. Done a lot of symbiote stuff recently, so I'm going to try to take a break from that real quick. Do a little DC. In fact, we're going to continue my reviews of the Scott Snyder Batman run from the New 52 with Batman Volume 6, Graveyard Shift. Quick read up at the back of the book. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's game-changing run on Batman set the comics world on fire with The Court of the Owls, Death of the Family, and 0 Year. Now collected for the first time come the stories between the stories. In these standalone tales from the beloved series, Batman grieves for a son, infiltrates Arkham Asylum, and tracks a serial killer. Spanning from the 0 Year to the future of Batman Eternal, these stories expand and enrich the world of one of the most loved series in comics. Joining Snyder and Capullo in an all-star lineup of special guests including Andy Kubert, Alex Maleev, Andy Clark, Dustin Nguyen, Wes Craig, Matteo Scalera, James Tynion IV, and Marguerite Bennett. This volume collects Batman number 0, numbers 18 through 20, number 28, number 34, and Batman Annual number 2. The trade runs about $16.99 in the US and $19.99 in Canada from DC Comics and ISBN 978-1012-5753-8. So yeah, Batman Volume 6. Good Graveyard Shift. Some fun stuff in here. So these are all like the 1 or 2 issue stories that were between bigger stories. And instead of throwing them at the end of whatever story they would come after in a trade, they put them all into one trade, which is straight up just DC forcing you to buy an extra trade if you're reading it via trades, but at the same time, it kind of keeps them all in one place, so I don't mind. You know, it works out. It kind of starts off with some 0 Year stuff with Bruce undercover in the Red Hood gang. It was actually really good. He really almost got taken out. We see him talk to Jim Gordon and actually almost get discovered as the Vigilante. This is before he actually becomes Batman. And I think we've already reviewed all the 0 Year books. Yes, we have. We also get one about the first time the bat symbol was lit and where everyone was. It shows what Tim Drake was doing. It shows what Jason Todd was doing. It shows what Dick Grayson was doing. And it shows what Commissioner Gordon and Barbara Gordon were doing the first time the bat signal was lit as well. Then we get an issue with Harper and her brother. If you don't know Harper, that's Bluebird. She was only Bluebird for a very short time. She retired pretty quickly, realized the vigilante life wasn't for her. It's about her brother, and her father who's in prison. And she's trying to help out Batman because this is post-Robin's death. Damian Wayne Robin, specifically. And I have reviewed the Batman Incorporated books with his death involved. I actually reviewed them relatively recently, but not too recently. Yeah, fun Grant Morrison stuff. But, Batman is basically not even going home. His suit is all torn apart and stuff, and he's exhausted. He's probably gonna die. He has to fight dogs with freaking Bane's venom in them, and Harper keeps tracking him down because she's really smart. And she eventually gets him to like take a break and stuff. And then we get my favorite part of this book. It's a 2-issue story where Bruce Wayne appears to be robbing people, and it's actually Clayface. Yeah, so Clayface is evolving. He's figured out how to replicate DNA down to like 99%. So when he copies someone, as long as he has touched them, he can copy their DNA. If he hasn't touched them, then it'll still read up as like warped Basil Karlo DNA. But yeah, so he tries to take Bruce Wayne out. We see like a cool prototype version of the Batman Beyond suit in this, and kind of a Hazbat looking suit. It's not the Hazbat suit, but it looks like it. Clayface nearly discovers who Batman is, and he does all kinds of cool stuff. It's just a great story. I love Clayface. I love how Capullo draws Clayface. He looks really monstrous. And then it ends with Batman and Alfred watching Cowl recordings of Robin together. We also get the next book, which is about Superman actually comes to talk to Batman about Damian's death, give him a shoulder to lean on and stuff, and they end up having to fight this magical creature, which is difficult for Superman. His body does not react well to magic, even worse than humans would. And then there's also a story that was introducing a new character, and he ended up being a very important character in the Batman universe for a while. He's a new orderly for Arkham Asylum, and I won't tell you everything that happens to him throughout the universe. We'll get to that when we review a later volume. But he comes into contact with this inmate whose power is quantum tunneling, and she put herself in the asylum. She checked herself in. And it was a sanctuary. They were healing her. She was getting better. But then they started ignoring her so that they could... she was there when the asylum stopped focusing on treatment and started focusing on punishing supervillains. She was she's really, really old, generations old. And she existed before the big metahuman boom. So she was very much an anomaly, even though metahumans are common now. But she gives Batman all these visions and stuff, and eventually the new orderly, who's very idealistic, decides that he's going to treat her. Yeah, and they're going to get her treatment and stuff again, and he's going to try to team up with Batman to help. And then we also get a one-issue story about this guy who's the Meek, and he's just kind of a regular serial killer. He's a grave digger, so he can put the bodies in the graves when he digs them in the Potter's Field in Gotham. And he thought that Batman wouldn't notice him because he's a nobody, and he only kills nobodies. In fact, he targets Leslie Tompkins' patients, but we all know that she knows Batman personally, his identity and everything. But yeah, one of the last pages of that comic is actually huge foreshadowing. It's Batman talking to Border, who is the new orderly, and they talk about the Joker and stuff, and it's a huge... The whole page is huge foreshadowing, which you don't really pick up on until you reread it. And then it shows the Potter's Field where they're digging it up, and there's just tons of bodies there. We also get a book that ties into Batman Eternal. Batman Eternal was an amazing book. Being weekly was kind of stupid, I think. Who can afford weekly books? And I think at the time there were a couple different weekly books going on sometimes. There are still some of the weekly books I need to read, like Batman and Robin Eternal. I hear it's not very good, but it brings Cassandra Cain back into the universe, so I have to read it because she's my girl. I need to read Future's End as well. But this one ties into Batman Eternal, shows Selina as a new crime boss, and the end of it reveals Spoiler. And that's not me censoring things, that's her name, Spoiler. Stephanie Brown brought her back into the universe as well. Pretty cool stuff. Of course, like most trades, you get a variant covers gallery in the back. No sketch gallery. This is just a pretty basic edition. So final thoughts on Batman Volume 6 Graveyard Shift. The art throughout is incredible. Not all the art is Capullo's art, but it's all good. Every single bit of it, it's high quality art throughout. The writing, incredible. Snyder, I think the only Scott Snyder thing I've read that I wasn't really into was Justice League No Justice, which I have reviewed. That's the only thing of his I've read where I wasn't, super impressed. He's such a great writer. He does horror and darker stories better than anyone else in the industry, better than any writer in the industry right now, if you ask me. The Wake, American Vampire, Witches. Oh my god, Witches. Please do a Volume 2, Snyder. I'm begging you do a Volume 2 of Witches. But, yeah, Batman Volume 6 Graveyard Shift is really good. If you don't really care about these side stories, you can actually skip it and go straight to 7. But I do recommend it because they're really good. At the very least, invest in the single issues for the Clayface part. It's just 2 issues, the Clayface story. So, at the very least, invest in those 2 issues. But this is a great book. It's really a great book. Good job, DC. Good job, Snyder, Capullo, everyone who worked on it. You all did a fantastic job. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter. They're all in the link tree. So you have to follow the link tree link, and then it gives you all the other links because the description was like not linking to a lot of things for a while, but it should be fixed. But I'll see you all next time. Not sure what I'll be reviewing next, but there is more Venom stuff coming, as well as some manga. And I got some Dark Horse, Marvel, and Viz Media stuff that I know is coming really soon, because I'm going to read them on my break at work tomorrow. I don't know how many breaks I get tomorrow, because I get a different... It just depends on my schedule for the day. I don't want to go into detail on my personal life, but... yeah, that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all next time.